All right, let's move on to the next topic. This is something very interesting to me because I wrote down here that I remember having conversations with you about esports back in
Mm.
2014, 2015, when it first started at
Ooh,
Wednesday Night Fights, and the direction that it
okay.
was headed in. For example, things like money, cancel culture, all of
Mm.
that stuff. And you ended up
Uh,
leaving the scene for some time. So, what was the last straw for you, and what were your thoughts during that time period of hiatus? Because it's hard for a man to step away from almost guaranteed money. And you were so loved by everyone. And if anyone had the ability to make a living off of this, off of esports, it was you. So it makes me
mm.
think you had some internal battles, maybe your morals or whatever, that conflicted with the way you'd make money or what you were being a part of. I remember us talking about like what is the FGC becoming, and it was just
Yeah.
it was like a shifting violently, very quickly, very
Yeah.
very quickly, and you were one of the first to kind of see where it was headed 10 years down the line or so, and you weren't a fan of it, and I was scared of it, and as I
Yeah.
experienced everything that was happening, I was like, man, Mike was right this whole time. So,
Yeah.
what was your thought
Yeah.
process during that time period? And explain the little bit of the hiatus, bro. I thought you were out in the Saharan desert, like just walking, you know?
Oh, for a bit. Yeah, kind of like a little bit actually.
Okay.
A lot of just complete disconnection because I was like, man, like you had to, you get to a point where, granted, looking, it's how do I say it? I have to take a ton of accountability for stuff. I felt like in ways I opened up the doors to a lot of things that um maybe I should or shouldn't have. That's debatable. I guess, you have to look at everything. Um, you know, there's two sides to every story, right?
Right.
Let's say what I opened the doors for definitely helped a lot of people, I think. Um, some people, are making it's crazy to say these words I'm about to say. It's crazy to say that there's people that make a living playing Street Fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you understand how weird that is. You
Yeah.
understand because you went to Evo with $0 and came home with 600 without winning the tournament and
Right.
not not playing blackjack.
Right.
So you understand that, but there's people that are making 250,000. The first time in our lifetime, which is a dream. We'll talk about this too a little bit later. Somebody's going to make $1 million from playing. Um, but at the same time, it's when somebody is handing out a check, they have every right to control what can and doesn't go, right?
Right.
It's their check, their organization, their rules. Um, now things that used to go, things that used to be accepted are no longer accepted. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. Um, one of the things that I'm not too happy with is like we don't get to see. I mean, I know we still could, but where does corn fit in? Where does corn fit in this era? Are they? I miss going to tournaments and seeing corn pop off.
Yeah.
But I know now that's like people are quick and uptight. Hey, I'm playing a match. I don't want to hear any sound in the background. Like I get it, but this is the gift and the curse. So I was worried that a lot of that stuff would not be allowed in tournaments anymore, and I hope there's a middle ground. Um, and I think I haven't been to one of the kumites, but I think the Red Bull kumites are okay with that. But I haven't been to one, so I'm not too sure. Have you? Have you been to one?
No, I haven't been to one. That's honestly a
Okay.
tournament that I've been wanting to be invited to for a very long time, but it always seems like
Okay.
it doesn't end up on the list. But I do have to. It's an amazing tournament. I mean, Red Bull has done
Hmm.
amazing things for the community. They have.
Hmm.
I've always spoken, very positively about Red Bull because it gave so many players opportunities, and it also gave us opportunities to make money and to travel, et cetera, et
Hmm.
cetera. I mean, they hosted a lot of great tournaments. I always said the best tournaments that I had ever been to was Red Bull tournaments because
Hmm.
everything was just like they really took care of the player. They really focused
Yeah.
on the player and what the player's needs are, and here's the training room or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until like Red Bull kind of showed how you can take care of players at tournaments. But yeah, I mean, the esports thing that happened. I mean, I benefited off of that. I benefited big time
Yes.
off of that
It's
because things like
great.
Bud Light
Hmm.
happened and whatnot.
Hmm.
Sponsorship opportunities. But one of the things that was
Yeah.
lost was the very essence of how the fighting game community started. That was lost
Yeah.
in the acceptance of the esports and the money. So would you consider it like selling your soul? Is it along the same lines as that? Because it provided so many players with an opportunity to escape
Right.
a very
Yep.
bad life, you know?
Yep.
For example, like Mena leaving the Dominican Republic, like I
Yep.
probably wants to live in the United States more than he, wants to live in the DR, and that's why he moved to United States. But that's just one example, but there's so many other players that have had an opportunity for some sort of income because of the
Yeah.
esports. So
Yep.
but you can't deny the loss of the spirit. You can't deny the
You,
loss of the original essence of the community. So how do you
you,
feel
you
about
know,
that?
yeah, one of the issues I think that I was seeing with people is people conforming to get their attention. And I think that was what one of the negative effects of it was causing, like, our scene. It's like people were just making up rules on the fly. Oh no, you can't do this anymore. You can't say this anymore. Don't do this, without even really being told you can't do or can't say that. People are just intentionally trying to, I guess, clean themselves up, tidy themselves up, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it's like you were changing yourself to try to get attention from something that not necessarily was guaranteed.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's a very scary, dangerous time that we're living in, not just within the social media era and the FGC era, but just globally in general when it comes to things like cancel culture. And
yeah.
it hit the FGC very hard, very,
Hmm.
very hard. And I think it also hit the
Hmm.
FGC very hard because, as you said, there's a lot of people that were very sheltered and they don't
Hmm.
know how to communicate or understand social cues that well. So they believe the whole world revolves around them and how they feel. And
Yeah,
if they feel a negative way, then you must be the worst human being to ever walk this planet. And they're not willing to
yeah.
look in the mirror. But that whole cancel
Hmm.
culture era and what it's become now, it's just, don't get me wrong, like, at work you behave professionally and you
Hmm.
try to behave professionally as well. But when opinions
Yeah,
and things of this nature are getting um, taken to extremes
yeah.
and where players are getting banned and just other people can just say things like that, it's absolutely insane to me. It's absolutely insane to me that the culture that was bred from just hardcore personalities has turned into one of the softest communities ever. And this isn't like, I'm not underplaying this. This is, you would have to agree with me. This is one of the softest communities ever now because you are not allowed to say anything anymore. And it feels like you're choking the whole time. It's like
Oh my god.
you can't even breathe comfortably, bro. You can't breathe comfortably. And because you're a personality as well, or you're a known player, it's like everybody's watching you. And
Oh
I've
man,
been through
that's so funny.
situations. I've been through situations where people have literally watched me. I've
Yeah.
seen people watching me, and then I've heard things from, whether it be a developer of I don't want to go too deep into it, but I've heard things
Hmm.
from people within that are like, dude, like this person is literally trying to say X, Y, and Z about you, and they're emailing Capcom about it. Like,
Mm.
can you believe that? Like, that's an act. Like,
Yes.
I'm not a
Yes, I can.
celebrity, bro. Like, I feel like maybe like somebody like
Mhm.
Justin Bieber has to go through the
Mhm.
paparazzi, and someone like
Mhm.
Drake and Lil Wayne, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
But like, bro, I'm just a dude pressing buttons,
Mhm.
and now there's this aspect of fame attached to it, and like
Mhm.
people are waiting for you to slip up, and it's so,
Yes.
you can't breathe, Mike. You literally can't
Yeah.
breathe.
100%. Because, like, when one approach or one way I go about it, which is surprising, is the difference between, I'll say, myself and the majority of what I see of those people doing is that, let's say let's say you say something that I highly disagree with, that I don't think is right. Um, I'm gonna think to myself, it depends what we're talking about, whether it's even worth me even bringing up to you. But if I do, I'd bring it up to you,
Of course, of
right? You
course.
know what? First, I disagree with what you said. I feel highly different.
Man to man.
The difference, yes,
That's
yes.
the key word right there. Man
It's
to
just,
man.
it's just, or the other issue is, you just bring it up to the person directly. The problem is, what I see today is that, like, rather than that, if I think what you said I disagree with, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to go over here and tell everybody else, because I don't want them to like you if I don't.
Yeah,
And me
yeah,
personally, if I don't like somebody, I'm okay with that, and I don't care if somebody else likes that person. I don't need to convince them. Like who you like, dislike who dislike is not, I don't think we should persuade other people, just to, they have to feel the way you do about something. Now let them
yeah,
think for themselves.
yeah,
And I don't think, this is an era. We don't want people to think for themselves. We want you to think like me. We want you to like what I like. We want you to, do all of this stuff. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just a time we're in right now, and it's, if you're like, if that's your thing, that's your thing. It's just, I don't think some of us are cut like that.
I always try to lean on things that I've learned from my faith. See, what that is I don't like this person, so I'm gonna get
Hmm.
everybody to not like this person as well. That is the definition
Yeah.
of throwing the stones. Whoever
Yeah.
hasn't sinned, throw the first stone.
Hmm.
And what does everybody do after Jesus says that? They all drop the stones. But the problem here is they don't think about that. They
Yeah.
don't they don't have that mechanism inside of their head, and I hope they find God and find that like life lesson right there. That life lesson
Hmm.
applies so much to this. You are throwing stones at people because you think that you're better than them, and you don't want someone else to like that person as well, and so you
Yeah.
try to tarnish. That is the definition of evil. That is
Mm.
literally the definition of a demonic type of energy where you get a high off of pulling people down. There was uh somewhere I heard this where it said the only reason why people try to pull you down is because they're already beneath you.
Hmm.
They're already beneath you, so they got to reach up to pull you down.
That's correct.
And
Good.
you know,
Yeah.
I just it's very scary that so many people aren't aware of their actions, and these are grown men as well. Teenagers obviously do
Yeah.
it, and you can excuse the 15, 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old like they're kids. Their minds
Hmm.
haven't developed yet. But these
Hmm.
are grown ass men who get a
Yeah.
high off of something like this. And I feel so sorry for them, the type of life that they've had to harbor such hatred and such a
Yeah.
disgusting way to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
That had to
I
be
it.
said.
Yeah. Yeah. It took me. Believe me, I get what you're saying. It took me a long time too to realize that, you also have to understand one thing too, Chris, is that in their mind, they don't see that as negative. They don't see that as hating. They don't see that as pulling down. They don't see that. So you
Yeah.
can't, like, when you can really get to that level, you can't even be mad or upset. You just have to understand. It's like, you see it, your way. I get it. I see it mine. It's just, it is what it is. They're never going to change, and it's never going to change, because they've been doing that, like you said, turning people against them that you don't like. They've been doing it since they were burning witches at the stake.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't like this girl, she's a witch, guys, trust me, burn her at the stake.
Yeah.
Nothing, it's been going on forever. Now it's just different. Instead of burning them at the stake, now you cancel them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of the same thing. Now, granted, I'm not talking about people. There's some people out there that have done some really terrible stuff, and for that, teach
Of
their,
course.
that's worthy of, yeah, get them out of here. But if we're talking about, like you just said, I don't like oranges. I don't like the way they taste. Hey,
Yeah.
actually, we all love oranges, so this person that like oranges can't have them at our tournament. Like, that's too extreme.
Yeah, I
And of
mean,
course, I'm using an extreme, like not real example, but you get what I'm saying.
but I mean, it's yeah, but replace oranges with another very silly little thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that could
Mm-hmm.
also be taken out of context. And just the fact that
Mm-hmm.
you had to disclose, of course, I'm not talking about those people who have done wrong things. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
given.
Yeah.
Any, of
Yeah.
course,
Right.
somebody who has done
Yeah.
something that is heinous, that is
Yeah.
absolutely heinous,
Yeah.
should at least be held accountable for it.
Mm-hmm.
But where is grace?
Yeah.
Where's forgiveness?
Yeah.
Where's you made a mistake? Let me teach you. Let me help you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not let me
That's
just
right. Yes.
completely
Yeah. Exactly.
destroy your character and your
Exactly.
image. You fucking made a mistake, bro. Like this
Let
is
me help
why,
you.
yeah, like this is why you did this wrong. I forgive you. Now,
Oh, that's so funny.
if you choose to do that again, then I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you in my life. But
Mm-hmm.
like,
Right. Exactly.
but if you,
Exactly.
it's just there is no grace, there is no forgiveness, and it's just
Oh.
a very egotistical group of people that believe they deserve everyone to be just like them and
Mm-hmm.
to for everyone to agree with what they agree with. They want everyone to be robots. And I'm sorry, I'm not a robot. I'm still gonna say what I want to say. It's just a shame what it's turned into. And not everyone
Mm-hmm.
is like that.
Of
Again, I
course.
have to disclose
Of
this.
course.
Not everyone is like
Yeah.
that, but
Yep.
there are a lot of people like that. And
Yeah.
you ask any top player the type of experience they've had with just being. I remember at Canada Cup once where like the lights went out or the the venue shut down because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
electricity
Yeah.
or something, and Lapchi got
Mhm.
so much shit for that from
Yeah. I
people that
remember.
weren't
Yeah.
even there. And then I
Yep.
remember tweeting about it, like saying like, "Yo, like you don't even know what happened. Like Lapchi been doing
Mm-hmm.
this for years." And then
Mm-hmm.
people were telling me, "Oh, how was that limousine ride, you elitist fuck?"
Yeah, that's right.
I
That's
was
right.
like,
Yeah, I remember that. I
what
remember
limousine?
that.
I didn't get on a limousine. What are you talking about? It's just
Hmm.
how do you it's like a 12-year
Yeah.
old's imagination. It's like they're
Yes.
stuck inside of
Yeah.
being 12 years old. So I don't know. We could
Yeah.
talk about this for hours and hours, but and
Yeah, you're
I'm
right.
sure the people listening, there's got to be some
Mhm.
people that feel the way
Yeah.
that we do. And if you
Yeah.
are one of those people, hey, I forgive you. Stop being immature and
Mm.
you know
Yeah.
accept some
Yeah.
Christ in your life and forgive some
Yeah.
people, and you'll feel so much better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'll
let's go on
say
to the
next
next
time you get
topic. Yeah.
just I was just gonna say one more. Just next time you get hit with that, from people that hit you with that ignorance, how was that limousine? You just respond like it was cool, but we ran out of champagne early, so it could have been a lot better.
That's
Just hit him
actually,
with that.
hey,
Right,
that's a
just hit him. Yeah, the limousine was great. It was really good. It was stretched. We had like all these dancers in there. You just give them that.
oh yeah, just fabricated like crazy because
Yep,
they're
just
already
fabricated
fabric.
even more. Yep,
They
right,
probably have an
exactly.
even worse image of what happened.
Yeah,
So
right.
you might
They're
as well.
coming at you with yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. They're coming at you with something not true, so you expand on it and make it even more unbelievable.
Man,
Just to see their response. Okay.
yeah, we
Yeah, he
gotta
gave each
learn
of us 20 grand.
we gotta learn how to love people again. We gotta
Yes.
learn
Oh
how to
yeah.
love
Ooh.
human beings again.
Oh
And
man.
there's
That's so good.
I don't even know
Oh,
if that even existed, but we just need
that's
to learn how to
true.
love. There's a lot of love that is not happening within your minds, and
That's true.
that we got to learn to love people. Period.
Dang, you're
So
100% right.